All right, this is the second of our Make Games with the speakers for the summer session. This is Treyz from Maxis. He is part of the SimCity team, and he's working on something now, I think. Well, we'll see. He'll talk to us about that. But Treyz.
Thank you, Leon. So you're gonna have to forgive me. This is the first time I've run a presentation off of phone, and so if I, just bear with me for a sec. And if we won't, so hi, yes, I'm Ross, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I am. I might use a swear word, and then I'm going to tell you about how we can all eat unicorns. I'm going to tell you about some other crazy people, and then we're going to talk about the future. All right, so hi, I'm Ross. I work at Maxis Emeryville, which is not at Redwood Shores, it's in Emeryville. I work on SimCity, and I'm a balance designer. I grew up in New York City. I studied at a small liberal arts college called Sarah Lawrence. And then, after I graduated from college, I did a bunch of jobs. I worked at an educational reform company. I tried to get into film. I worked at a Renaissance fair. I did a lot of different things. And I found myself, at one point, I was working for the Spanish Yellow Pages. And I was walking down the side of a freeway in New Jersey. And if you know anything about New Yorkers, you know I'm not too fond of New Jersey. But anyway, I was walking down the side of the freeway in New Jersey, and I was wearing a full business suit in the hot summer sun, and I had a backpack full of phone books. Remember, I said I was working for the Spanish Yellow Pages. So I had this backpack full of phone books, and I said to myself, I must have done something really horrible in a past life to deserve this. And so I made myself a vow at that point that I would never do anything that I hated as my job ever again. And so I quit my job, and I did a lot of soul searching. I grew this really big beard, and I came to this realization that all this time I had been working to get money so that I could game in my free time. I would, after work every day, I would play video games. On the weekends, I would have marathon D&D sessions with my friends. And I was really just doing it so that I could do, I was really just doing my job so that I could do this stuff. And so I said, I always thought it would be cool to be a game designer. Why don't I try and do that? And so I, made up my mind to do that right then. So, of course, I didn't just then get my job. I had to take a few baby steps because I'd never thought about games in that kind of academic way before. So, luckily for me, NYU was offering a free lecture series at that time where I heard from luminaries of the industry such as Jonathan Blow and Warren Spector. And after that, I took a class in, it was actually the first class that the NYU Game Center ever offered in game design. And it was me and a bunch of kids that were 6 years younger than me. But in a week, or I think it was 3 weeks, we made a game that we had made so much content for that we couldn't even put all the stuff we had made and finished into the game because of pacing. It just wasn't right for the levels that we had built. So we had to cut a bunch of stuff. But that really, kind of solidified the idea that I thought I could do this. And so after that, at the end of the class, a couple of grad students came through, and they asked for volunteers. They were working on a Facebook game for a British charity. And I volunteered because I didn't really have anything better to do. And so I made this game called Mixology with them. And because of that, I was able to get a job working at a company called Wild Tangent. Now, none of you are probably familiar with Wild Tangent, but they make games that basically advertise to housewives that have a little too much time on them. They were like Zynga before Zynga. And they come pre-installed on every Dell computer in the US. And so it was a very corporate environment. And it was a little bit difficult for me there because I had all these great ideas about how I was going to make new and wonderful, interesting games that nobody had ever seen before. And they were just really interested in how to get the people looking at the advertising. And so I learned a valuable lesson there, which was that when you're talking about your game, you have to know what audience you're speaking to in order to describe it properly. Because they didn't want to hear what an interesting new mechanic this was, or how nobody had ever done this before. They wanted to know the cold hard facts of how it was going to get people to play their game. And so that was the lesson I learned there. But because of that, I was able to apply to a graduate school called the Entertainment Technology Center, Carnegie Mellon University. And this was a really great program for me because I was dead set on making it in the games industry. I really promised myself that I would make the most of this experience. And so this is where I learned that you really make the most of your education. It's not what teachers you have or what classes you take. It's how well you utilize what they are putting in front of you. Because I had a wonderful experience there. I got on great projects, and I really maximized my potential. But some of my friends there didn't do so well, and they ended up not enjoying the school as much as I did because they weren't really putting themselves behind it. They weren't 100% sure what they wanted to do. And so that was the lesson I learned there. So from there, I got my job at Maxis, and I worked on SimCity. So some of you may be wondering, what does a balance designer do? Well, mostly I make spreadsheets. Remember all that math that they said you'd never have to remember after you took that class or whatever? That's exactly what you use. I use it on a daily basis. Basically, think of every number that's in SimCity. I probably looked at that number in a spreadsheet once and decided, yes, that fire station is going to be more powerful than that other fire station. Or it's going to be more economically feasible. Or both, or vice versa. That's basically what a balance designer does. So after I create these spreadsheets where they detail the different aspects of the game, I actually go in and I edit the scripts that run in the game and put those variables in there. I don't create the scripts, but I change the numbers once they've been used. So then beyond that, I get to draw wonderful pictures of designs that I've created and use them to try and convince other people that my design should be the one that we make. And I use a design technique that we'll talk about a little bit later in my presentation called one-page designs. And beyond that, I also spend a lot of my time playing the game to make sure that the experience that we want to craft is actually coming through in the game. And furthermore, I volunteer my time working with the community and actually going on the forums and interacting with our players. This is not part of my job requirement, but it's something I choose to do on my own because I feel like it's our responsibility as game makers to actually support the product and speak with the community and see how they feel about it and take that into consideration when I'm doing my balancing. So this brings me to story number 2, which is when I was trying to get into film and when I first started trying to get into games, I encountered a lot of people who were already in the industry who I would tell, I want to be a game designer. And they'd say something like, oh, don't you know everyone wants to be a game designer? Or, that's really tough. And they gave me this feeling of, negativity and basically telling me that I might as well give up. And I'm here today to tell you, forget that. Because we can all eat unicorns together. And when I say unicorns, I mean your dream job. And when I say eat, I mean get. Okay? You follow me? Because the games industry is big, and it's getting bigger. And probably by the time you guys are looking for jobs, I don't know, how old are you? 23. Oh.
Oh. We've got everything from
outliers. Okay, good. You're like me. So probably not by the time you're looking for a job, but by the time some of the younger ones are looking for a job, the games industry will be much bigger. It's an exploding territory as far as new media is concerned. So my advice for you, as far as looking for a job in the games industry goes, is you've got to be super try-hard, okay? It is competitive, but it's not impossible. You got to go in hand. And if you play League of Legends, you know what I mean. All right? And then the third one is keep calm and carry on. Because you're going to face rejection. And there's nothing more important when you face rejection than just taking it in stride and moving on. And please don't get angry at the people that have rejected you. Because you never know. Down the road a couple of years, once you do have a job, they may be offering you a better job. If you take it personally that they rejected you, then you'll never get that job when they offer it. So, how many of you have beat a video? Just raise your hand. Video game? Oh, I have no idea. He's telling you a thing. Anyway, So beating a video game is a lot like getting a job in the game. You probably won't do it on the first try, and you may have to put it down for a while and come back later when you're less frustrated. But as long as you keep trying and trying new and different techniques and improving upon your skills, you will eventually succeed. And so, yeah, I just wanted to leave you with that. So once you get the job, there's 3 important things that you need to remember. 1, be easy to work with. It doesn't matter how talented you are or how many skills you have. If nobody wants to hang out with you, you're not going to get or keep that job. Number 2, iteration. It's of the utmost importance to take feedback from people that have played your game, listen to what they've said, see what they're saying, and incorporate that into your experience. Nobody does anything perfect on the first try, so don't even pretend like you do. Number 3 is learn. If you're a programmer, it won't hurt to know a little art. If you're an artist, it won't hurt to know a little design. The more you know about the basic tools of each discipline, the more useful you will be when working with groups. That being said, it is also very important to be a master of the trade that you choose to be very good at. So, yes, pick one thing and be very good at it. All right, so we're getting towards the end of the presentation, but I just want to tell you about some other smart people that you might want to look at. Not that I'm smart, but that these people. Number 1 is Stone LeBrand. He's my mentor at Maxis, and he's actually one of the major reasons why I took the job. Stone has put forward a new design technique in the industry called one-page designs. And basically, this is the concept that any design document can be represented as an infographic, as opposed to a wall of text or a website with interlinking pages. And that because of the artistic nature of infographics, it's actually more. The information is actually more easily absorbed. So all his presentations from the Game Developer Conference are available for free online, and I'll give you the website. The second person is Frank Lanz. Frank Lanz founded and owns Area Code Games in New York City, which is actually owned by Zynga. And Frank has made the best social games and arguably some of the best games ever made. He also gives very interesting talks about the future of where the genres of games are going. He sees a bright future for games where the different genres that we have now blend and create children of their own, such as AAA games and math games, or indie games and art games, some of which has already happened. So I believe Frank, and I see it as a bright future coming. The next person I'm going to talk about is Jesse Schell. Jesse Schell is actually a professor of mine at Carnegie Mellon, and he's a bit rough around the edges, but his book, The Art of Game Design, has some of the best ideation techniques I've ever seen in my life. So when you're looking for ways to improve upon your existing ideas or ways to fill them out, his book will be of the utmost assistance. The last person is Randy Pausch. Now, Randy doesn't speak a lot about game design or games in general, but he did this talk called The Last Lecture, which changed my life. And it's more about how you lead your life and techniques that will help you to achieve your goals. And everyone I know who's seen the video or read the book, it has changed their life. And it's available on YouTube, so just go on there and look at it. The Last Lecture is the name. And it hopefully will change your life. And so there are many other people in this day and age that I wish I could talk about with you, that are getting into studying games and why games motivate us and many different things. And so it's a very exciting time to be in, because we're coming into a renaissance, and we're just discovering what is going to be our role in the world. And it's expanding all the time. So it's a wonderful place to be. That being said, I dare you to go out there and make your dream job happen. If in a couple years, or right now, if you need advice about getting into games, email me. I'm going to give you my email. I'm going to send you a link to this presentation. Hopefully, I'll make it available to Dion. And all right, good. And you'll be able to contact me, and I'll give you some pointers in the right direction. So, in conclusion, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Told you some weird stories about my life. Give you some hints about how to get your job, dream job, and keep it. I told you some people to watch, and then I gave you a challenge. I hope all of you. That's all. Thank you very much.
Anyone have any questions or anything?
You focus on balance with that your mastery. If you're talking about you may get mastered in something along the way.
No, to be honest, I sort of fell into it. During my schoolwork, one of the projects I was on was a fighting game where about medieval guys fighting each other, and we were trying to be super realistic. And so during the process of that, we had all these physics that our weapons were using. Literally, each weapon had a mass, a weight, and there was a speed at which you would swing it. And so I would have to go in and enter those numbers. However, the programmer was a perfectionist on this part, and so he kept redoing the entire system. And thus, I would have to go in and put in all these numbers, which would vary wildly from what they were before, because this whole system was completely. And so I think I did about 9 different passes on this. And to be honest, I realized I really enjoyed that. And so that was one of the things that I was able to show them when I was applying for my job at Maxis. And they were impressed by that. And so that's how I got into that role. But when I say focus on something, I really focused on design in general. So that's why I did a Facebook game. I did a fighting game. I did a game with these things called SimCity cubes. I just designed for every platform I can find. In fact, a lot of stuff I do is just with card and board games. It's like that's a really fast way of figuring out if an idea is viable.
How important do you think the social?
It's well. Do you mean like on the internet or like?
Trying like if you're trying to find a dream job, how important?
It's super important. That being said, it's really easy to make friends, and so to be honest, like I said, it'd be easy to work with. So really, if anything, if somebody needs you, they should just get the impression, not that you're skilled or awesome at what you do, but you're a cool person to be with. And that can be a lot easier than you thought. It's not about imposing what kind of skills you have. It's about just letting them know that it'd be fun to deal with. Does that help? Sure.
What's your secret project for
I can't. It's not actually. It's not too good. I'm still working on something.
What's the most fun you've had, like creating a city? Any interesting stories about things you're able to do with the game?
I mean, to be honest, the fans do the players do the most interesting stuff in the game. But I had a lot of fun just playing with my friends, even though the multiplayer can be a little bit laggy. There's this one region we built up where like I had a nuclear meltdown because like I made a big mistake. Okay, I forgot that you need to have educated workers working in the nuclear power plant, and I was moving my university. It took a little too long, and the thing exploded. And but I really like that. I'm kind of a glutton for pain in that way. It's like it just made this huge, horrible radiation thing and started spreading out, and everyone was getting sick and dying. And I was like, yeah, but you're still going to work.
Dream job, guys. Dream job.
Can you talk a little about the difference between PC games, console games, versus mobile games, and how?
Okay, sure, yeah. Mobile is exploding, and so it's interesting because it's kind of a whole new platform. I haven't really done much mobile development myself, but PC AAA, which is what I'm in, is we have huge teams, and when I was hired on, for example, there was somebody else that actually already had my job. Thank goodness for the fact that SimCity is so complicated because he was about to explode. And so we formed what was called the Mega Brain, where we combined our 2 brains and made one giant brain that was able to tune the whole game. But so that's a little bit what AAA is like. It's There's always people that can also do the same job that you do. Mobile development, I have a couple friends that work in mobile development, and they're much smaller teams, much more focused on different aspects of stuff. So, is that a good breakdown?
Yeah, I mean, also just in terms of like gameplay, like what kind of stuff were your experience like really
Right. Yeah. Strategy-wise, I can't speak too much about that. I mean, I could make some comments, but might get in trouble for that. But so, I mean, EA does view mobile as a new platform that they're fully committed to developing for, but their heart is always going to be native PC and console AAA.
Do you see like things like or
Right. Yes, I do. I personally think that consoles are not the way to be. That's just something that I've been holding on to for a while because I really love Steam and Origin. But I really think that that's true, in that like people talk about Xbox exclusives and PlayStation exclusives. Think about PC exclusives. And beyond that, I don't have too much confidence in the I've heard on Legion. That's a good one. To be honest, I don't have too much confidence in it simply because it seems like it's trying to come into a market that is already dominated by people who have way more advertising money, and in big business that can be a very viable tactic. Just how advertising. So, but I do know a lot of people that are very excited about it, so hopefully we'll see some stuff.
I have some ideas of how home consoles and your PC gaming will merge. And do you think we'll get to a point where there's one computer in your house and you can put what you want on your TV or your computer screen, and it handles all the things for you?
I like it.
Yeah, like a mega brain. Yeah.
No, I mean I totally see that. I mean, or if it's like a bunch of network small computers that kind of run the same thing. Yeah, I mean that's definitely.
Yeah, or standard computers that you buy off the shelf get powerful.
Oh, I'm trying to do that right now. I'm trying to get everything, but not have to deal with it. But I need more.
Another question? Thank you, Ross.
Thank you, guys.